like this podcast. I'm your host, Maxine. We're on episode 304. Hi. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for tuning in, and I appreciate your subscription. So again, if you are not subscribed, make sure you are doing so right now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and leave a positive review. I greatly appreciate it. That is your way of supporting this independent broadcast. So shout out to y'all. Let's get into this topic. Let's start off with the wise words of Glorilla. Yes, Glorilla has been invited or was invited to the White House recently and decided to have a close-up shot with our president, Joe Biden. Okay? And Joe Biden did not know he was Joe Biden. I can't make this up.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, well, not Joe, but yeah, you.
Yeah, Glow. You the president, so we gonna say yeah, Joe. Yeah.
So, do you guys understand what just happened? Do you guys understand what just happened here? So, Glorilla has a song out right now called Yeah, Glow. Yeah, Glow. I don't know what else is in the words, what else is in the song. I just know, yeah, Glow. Right? So, she thought it was apropos to switch it up impromptu as she was meeting President Joe Biden and said to him, yeah, Joe. Right? And of course, he doesn't know the reference. I mean, why would he? Why would Joe Biden know Glorilla's song, Yeah, Glow? Why would he understand, oh, what she's doing right now is changing the glow to Joe? But here's the thing. Even if he didn't know her song, right? At the very least, she's saying his name as she's recording them on her phone. So she's saying, yeah, Joe. So, obviously introducing Joe Biden to her fan base. Obviously, we all know Joe Biden, but introducing him to her fan base through this intimate setting. And his response is, no, not Joe. You're not Joe. Sir, obviously she's not introducing herself as Joe Biden. Child, let's play this again. I was just like, what?
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, well, not Joe, but yeah, you.
And he doesn't even know her name. I cannot. So he's like, not Joe. Yeah, you. So maybe he was trying to be like, oh no, let's give props to you. Don't give me the focus. Either way, it was certainly cringe. Another testament to the fact that he is not well kept or well suited. If he doesn't know Yeah, Glow as the president of the United States, I don't want him. If he doesn't know Yeah, Glow as the presidente of the United States of America, he's not suited to be our president, guys. That's the barometer here. So, yeah, Glow. Let's move forward. Okay, there is a whistleblower who has not surprising. I mean, it's obviously more than unfortunate, but it is not surprising. The death of Boeing whistleblower John Mitch Barnett, the 62-year-old former employee of the Aerospace Corporation, was declared a suicide 2 days after he was found dead in a truck parked in a hotel parking lot. And so the timing is very coincidental here because, again, he is a whistleblower of a corporation who he used to work for. And being an employee at that corporation, he obviously knows what's really going on. He has, prior to his untimely demise, he has been very vocal, very detailed in his findings and how the company is ran. He has exposed the lack of quality care in the creation, in the upkeep and maintenance of these aerospace units, of these planes, which is quite disturbing. It's quite alarming. You know, we all travel using the planes, and to even consider that this machine, this space that we're going into to get from one point to another is unsafe, is not properly maintained, that we're being lied to, is definitely unnerving. It's an unnerving situation, it's an unnerving truth. And it's also a threat to the economy. You know, obviously this economy runs on money, and we spend the money for these specific corporations to be able to function. So if this was getting more recognition and he wasn't getting any repercussions from his honesty, then the business of the airports, of airplanes, of aerospace in general would have been crumbling. So Barnett was a quality manager at his job before he left, and he worked there for 32 years. So he had a 32-year career, and during this time he raised many serious questions about the safety of Boeing's 787 Dreamliner commercial aircraft. The suit charges Boeing with harassing him on the job, stalling any promotions, and ultimately forcing him to leave the company 10 years before he planned to retire. So what does that tell us? That tells us that he was put in a position where he had to leave much earlier than he planned. Because he left earlier than his retirement being eligible for him to have access to, he now doesn't have that package, that compensation package that many employees are promised after a certain amount of years working for said company. So when you think about the fact that just the frustration with that, just the inconvenience of the fact that I was promised this and now I'm not getting that, what am I going to do financially to support myself and my loved ones? That's a lot to consider. So of course he's going to whistleblow. Of course he's going to tear the whole shit down, because I'm pissed. I was a loyal employee for 32 years. That's insane. The suit charges Boeing with harassing him on the job, stalling any promotions, and ultimately forcing him to leave the company 10 years before he planned to retire. I just read that. Barnett completed 2 days of his deposition on March 7th and March 8th. And according to his lawyers, he was tired but committed to giving his third and final day of testimony. When he did not arrive to court on March 9th and did not answer their phone calls, Barnett's lawyers called the hotel where he was staying to check on him. Hotel employees found him dead with a gunshot wound to his head. That's very suspicious. Very, very suspicious. So they're causing this death to be, of course, a self-inflicted wound to the head, and just chalked it up as another case of suicide. At the space where he was found, there was, quote, a white piece of paper resembling a note. And this was near his body. His lawyers immediately challenged the claim that their client's death was a suicide. They released a statement saying, "We didn't see any indication that he would take his own life. No one can believe it. The Charleston police need to investigate this fully and accurately and tell the public. No detail can be left unturned." And what's interesting too is his friends, his family friends, his the close people around him said that Barnett had warned this particular person, a friend of his, who is a woman named Jennifer. She says that Barnett had warned her, quote, "If anything happens to me, it's not suicide." So, I mean, there we have it. That's a case. That's enough for me to believe that his death was suspicious, that his the circumstances surrounding his death was very convenient of, quote, a suicide, but it's not. What's interesting about just the world that we live in, if we don't play by the books, if we don't follow suit, consequences may be dire, especially depending on what level of danger you're playing with. And for this man right here, Barnett, he felt like it was necessary for the public to know of the lack of safety and just proper procedures when it comes to this particular craft. So his friend, Jennifer, who said that he told her, "If anything happens to me, it's not suicide," she has, of course, kind of set the alarm, as well as his lawyers has set the alarm of making us realize that things are not what they seem. So the lie of him being dead due to taking his own life is not exactly the situation here. At least that's not what they believe. And I believe what they're saying as well, because at no point did it prove him being suicidal at any point, him feeling overwhelmed and stressed and caught up with something that led to him feeling uneasy and unwilling to continue with life. So it's just a lot of things here. It is worth contrasting Barnett's death and his aftermath to that of Russian opposition politician Alexei Navalny, who was found dead in his jail cell in February. So I guess there's some connection there. Not sure what that's about. Joe Biden apparently wasted no time declaring with no evidence that, this is something else. I don't know what the connection here with that is. So I'm going to move on to this next part here. I'm reading this from an article. There was more. So it says here, yet when there is more than enough evidence to suggest foul play in regard to a whistleblower against Boeing, the evidence is ignored. Barnett had a history of speaking out about Boeing's dangerous and negligent practices after he left the company in 2017. So just think about it. He's been at this for quite some time now, almost just so much, so many attacks probably. So for him to have said to his friend, "If anything happens to me, it's not suicide," I think it probably speaks to the fact that there's a history that maybe someone could investigate and find out of the threats to his life that he was probably experiencing prior to it finally happening. In a variety of interviews, he described how Boeing compromised quality control in a manner that was catastrophic for passengers on Boeing planes. The overriding goal, according to Barnett, was to make the cash register ring. We live in such a capitalistic society that we would literally be put in unsafe situations just to make that company have the profit that they're looking for. So despite the place or despite I'll play this in a moment. Despite this being a situation of credible unsafe practices, still nothing is like, he wasn't taken as seriously enough to have been investigated, to have the aircraft be investigated, and for proper procedures to take place. Child, I'm gonna go ahead and play this quick clip of this short video about this situation here. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
That he did not commit suicide. There's no way.
First tonight, our investigative reporter Ann Emerson has new information in the death of Boeing whistleblower John Barnett. A close family friend of Barnett says he predicted he might wind up dead, that a story could surface that he killed himself. But he told her, don't believe it. Ann?
Tessa, Barnett's family friend Jennifer said they had talked about this exact scenario playing out, but his words seemed like a premonition. He told her, don't ever believe it.
I knew John because his mom and my mom are best friends. And so over the years, get-togethers, birthdays, celebrations, and, whatnot, we've all got together and talked, and, that's how we really know each other.
And when Jennifer needed help one day, Barnett came by to see her. They talked about his upcoming depositions in Charleston. Jennifer knew he filed an extremely damaging complaint against Boeing. He says the aerospace giant retaliated against him when he blew the whistle on unsafe practices. For more than 30 years, Barnett was a quality manager. He'd recently retired and moved back to look after his mom in Louisiana.
He wasn't concerned about safety because I asked him, I said, aren't you scared? And he said, and his voice and the way he would talk, no, I ain't scared. He said, but if anything happens to me, it's not suicide. I know that he did not commit suicide.
And this is very telling of his character, right? Knowing that he was obviously aware that he's putting his life at danger here because he decided to come forward and tell the truth and blow the whistle about these just improper practices that's happening at this company, putting many participants and many passengers' lives at risk. So I definitely commend him for his bravery. I commend him for his tenacity and still speaking up and speaking forward since he left the company in 2017. It's just so unfortunate this is the result, and this seems to be just the way things end for people like him, people who decide to tell the truth and shame the devil time and time and time again. So, God bless this man. I hope he is, hopefully things continue to come forward and better practices can be put in place for this situation. But, there we have it, child. There we have it. So Beyonce came forward with an announcement about her upcoming album. Yes, another one. If you guys remember when she came out with Renaissance, she alluded to having 3 acts. And the assumption is the third act, so quote unquote the third album, the third project of work that she decides to release may be of the rock genre. So the first album was Renaissance in this series, and that's house music. This upcoming second album, her second act, is country music, even though Beyonce in her caption says it ain't a country album, it's a Beyonce album. I thought that was a cute flex, but it's, it's of that same likeness in her own twang, of course. But yeah, the third act is assumed to be rock. So I don't know how that's gonna be. They someone mentioned that her song, one of her older songs, Sugar Mama, let me be, I wants to be, got to be, yo, sugar, give mama some sugar mama. That song, oh, I love it. What? I used to be jamming that song. Hurry me up, sugar mama. Oh, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. That apparently is like a rock song, apparently, but Beyonce's version of rock. So if I could get more of that from her, that'll be so exciting. I'm already looking forward to that. But anyway, her upcoming album is happening, and it will be released on March the 29th. I'm looking forward to it. I understand all of the critiques that Beyonce has been getting. I think it's just easy to go about critiquing everything that she does because it's just, she's a part of it. She's a part of the zeitgeist where we have to have these conversations. We have to analyze. We have to. And it is totally fine. So I feel like she's not exempt to it. I know at one point in my life, during my Beyonce standing career, I used to hold her above reproach. People be like, oh, no one is above reproach. No, she was to me. Beyonce was to me. So, there's that. But ever since then, I feel like I've grown so much in the last few years. And I'm realizing more and more, these are just people. Like, we're all, some of us are not of the same species, but that's a whole different conversation for a different topic, for a different episode. But at the very least, on the surface, we could say we're all humans, right? Even if you want to say that, but let's just stick to that. Let's stick to that, okay? And I'm saying this in the sense of, I don't believe everyone who's in human flesh is of a soul, okay? I don't believe everyone of a human flesh is of the same possession, right? Like, there's, ultimately we're all spiritual beings in a human flesh, correct? So we all have human flesh, but we all are not humans because not everyone has a soul and not everyone is guided by the light, right? A lot of us are out here disguising ourselves as good people, but underneath it all have demonic tendencies, demonic fetishes, and demonic ways of expressing ourselves, and do it in a way that is in a community of people who are like you. And we'll get to that because there's a documentary that has been going around as a viral discussion that is called Quiet on Set. It's a Nickelodeon documentary, but we'll get to that in a moment. But I just wanted to start off there. But anyway, I bring that up to say, I think for quite some time, and even just the culture that we're in, we are conditioned to worship people, right? If you want to bring it back to the Bible, right? I don't know what verse it is, but it talks about in the Bible how we are designed to worship God. Like, we were created to worship him, right? So in our nature, we are supposed to worship. Now, it's up to you to decide what you decide to worship. Do you worship God or do you worship people? Do you worship money? Do you worship fame? Do you worship greed, right? So because we live in a society where celebrity culture is so strong in our zeitgeist, there is just the expectation to worship celebrities, especially the elite ones. So of course Beyonce is of that upper echelon. So yeah, I think it takes a while to finally break free from that. And I've alluded to this and talked about this directly for quite some time on this podcast. And which is why I'm also, which is why I've said and shared my desire to change my intro, which I love Beyonce still. I love her music. Yeah. I just, I'm out of the space of worshiping people because who the fuck are you, right? Okay, let's go back to Cowboy Carter. I am looking forward to the album. Nonetheless, she has posted a long ass caption in her Instagram to mark the 10-day countdown of her release of Act 2. And she talks about how there was a time in which she felt unwelcomed. And I'm like, who the fuck is not welcoming Beyonce? Like, I don't know if she's talking recent or if she's talking about a time way before she was Beyonce. Like, and I don't even know when that time was, because before she was the solo artist Beyonce, she was Destiny's Child Beyonce. And even then, it was really just Beyonce. No shade to Kelly and Michelle and Latavia and Latoya, even Daphne. What was her name? The one that was only there for a second. But the point is, she's been Beyonce for quite some time. Okay? So this idea of like her not being accepted at some point in her life, I don't know when she's at what point in her life did this happen? At what point? So she says here in her album, in her caption, quote, "This album has been over 5 years in the making. It was born out of an experience that I had years ago where I did not feel welcomed. And it was very clear that I wasn't." Like, Beyonce, what? What happened? Elaborate on this. Okay, tell me more on that. "But because of that experience, I did a deeper dive into the history of country music and studied our rich musical archive. It feels good to see how music can unite so many people around the world, while also amplifying the voices of some of the people who have dedicated so much of their lives educated on our musical history." Now, of course, she's saying our, right? She's speaking on Black people and how Black people are the originators of country music, of all music really, but in this case, let's just focus on country music. So she's saying that without necessarily saying that. Like, she's not saying Black people are the, she's not being super like Malcolm X about it, but if you catch her drift, you catch her drift. She says here, "The criticism I faced when I first entered this genre forced me to propel past the limitations that were put on me. Act 2 was a result of challenging myself and taking my time to bend and blend genres to get it together to create this body of work." Yada, yada, yada. She says at the last part here, "This ain't a country album. This is a Beyonce album." Like, okay, bitch, know who you are. But yeah, okay, cool. Looking forward to it. There's another, so in this post, she has a photo of herself on this white stallion, this hunk of a horse. And she's looking like one of those like cowboy dolls that you'll get at the antique store. And she's wearing a sash, and it says Cowboy Carter. Her hair is a it's not even blonde. It's a gray platinum color, which matches the horse's color, which is very funny because, weave comes from horse hair. And she's holding the American flag, right? So there's a lot of criticism about this. People feel like she's pandering to the white base of her fans in particular, to continue this stereotype that white people are the originators or face of country music. I don't know, maybe she in this case was trying to placate to the fact that though this stereotype of country music equals white people exists, look at me, I'm a black woman who's wearing this typical white garb, and I'm releasing this country album. Like, I feel like she was trying to play with us in a way, like trying to be ironic here. So maybe there's that. There's something about her always trying to reinvent herself. There's something about that. I find that to be very admirable, and at the same time a bit exhausting, right? I was listening to the Joe Budden podcast, and he talked about this a few episodes ago, saying how like he just wants to hear basically regular Beyonce. He just wants to hear regular R&B, like just get back to B-Day, get back to maybe even Lemonade too, like, you know. And look, I understand that in a sense, but I think when you are an artist and you want to continue to feel excited about your art and not feel like you're doing the same old, because if you're doing the same sound and you're an artist, maybe there's something in you that feels the need to switch it up. And I remember earlier Beyonce, she's always said that she likes to reinvent herself. So this is not something that she does to kind of be spontaneous, like to be like, you know, controversial or spontaneous or like trying to get more attention. I think this is very aligned with who she is and how she's been. She's always liked to change things up, be spicy, you know, just light up a spark. So there we have it. So, Azelia Banks, I have a lot to say about this. And Azelia Banks is someone who is, what should I say? She's very well articulated. She knows how to speak her speech, pretty much. She is very talented within her own rights. I know she has her own fan base. She's respected as far as her artistry. I know that for sure. Now, I'm not much of a fan of her music. I don't really seek her music, and it's not no shade to her, and I'm not denying her talent. I just don't really look forward to her music like that. I don't know what she got going on, and I don't really care to find out. But what I do look forward to is her reads. I do look forward to her commentary because I find her to be very mentally stimulating. I do. I find her to be enlightening. I find her to be exciting to learn about. Like, I think she's exciting. But she wrote this long ass soliloquy about her literary analysis of this post, of the same image that I just described a moment ago. And I just wonder, like, dang, girl, do you like Beyonce? I'm gonna paraphrase, of course, because it's a lot here. But she basically talks about how she feels like Jay-Z, not even feels like, she speaks with such a matter of fact that I feel like I have to believe her. Like, she is right. Azelia is spot on, because just from how she presents information as if she knows. So I'm just going to trust that she does know. She says here, she starts off by saying white Beyonce in one word. And I'm just like, oh, girl. Dragging in the first line, enough. She gets into how she feels like Beyonce, how Jay-Z is taking control of her career, and that is not okay. I think she calls Jay-Z a bore. She also feels like this image is boring. It's not, it could have given more, but it's lacking. It's very cheap, and it lacks the intelligence that you could have given here. So she says here, there was so much pertinent cultural commentary to be made here. I don't get why you have to be in white woman cosplay to make what's really folk, bluegrass, adult contemporary, facsimile country music. Like, had you had a phonetics coach, and mind you, this comes from the fact that a lot of people have always made fun of how Beyonce spoke, just like in regular speech. Beyonce does have a little like elementary style of way of expressing herself, but you know, it is what it is. And ace the vowel placements and twang to the lyrical. Oh, maybe I'm just adding that. Oh, child, let me just move on to the lyrical and melodic. Child, do I need a phonetics coach? She says here there could have been a humor to it, which would, you know, I'm laughing right now because I had a quick memory that just was triggered. Look, I'm someone who laughs, right? I'm someone who laughs at myself a lot. Like, I could take a joke and someone, mind you, so I haven't been showing video because I'm just trying to, I'll get to it. I just think it's so much more convenient to use my soundboard that I paid a good amount of money for. So I'm just making use of it. And I'm just trying to figure some other things out because I want to have just a really very cool looking visual. And I'm working on getting this camera. Anyway, the point is, I haven't been on camera for a little bit. Just like a few episodes, like a couple, maybe 3. Anyway, prior to that, I was on camera, right? And I don't mind, like, I'll be on camera, it's no big deal. And I don't really care about, like, necessarily looking a certain way, right? Like, I don't need to have a beat face. I'm wearing a big old shirt. And my hair, I have very kinky Afro texture hair. So I can't slick it down unless it's like in a silk press type of style. And I don't do that on my own. I go to a salon for that. Anyway, so there was a video of me and my hair was super poofy, as it always is. But the way that I styled it, I had some part of it up front. Like, I had the front out and to the side, like a little swerve. And it was like a little curly. But of course, after a few hours, the curl becomes frizzy and then whatever. And I don't care. I'm ready to record. I want to talk. Like, I just want to talk. You see what you see. Like, is this really going to bother your experience here? Like, cut it out. Anyway, someone commented and someone's like, girl, where is your comb? First of all, fuck you. Oh my gosh, that shit was so funny. And I'm laughing too, like, where my comb is in the bathroom in the drawer. That's where it is. That's what I said to her. I was like, oh, it's in the drawer. It's in the drawer. That's where my comb is. Where is your comb? In the bathroom. You want to go get it for me? You want to try to slick it in my hair? I don't want to do it. Oh, Lord, that was too funny. Okay, let's move on. So Azelia is saying that Beyonce is reinforcing the idea that there is no racism, segregation, slavery, violence, theft, massacre, plague, manifest destiny, craziness, that form, proud to be an American. Yeah. So she's trying to say that Beyonce is trying to uphold this image of, quote, God bless the USA, and quote, I'm proud to be an American. Well, who sang that song? I forget. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So that is what she's saying. That is the impression of this image that she is getting. And she feels like she could have done better. She feels like she could have shown the Black experience of living in the country. Like, sitting on your porch, being at a farm, or just, I don't know. What's interesting is Beyonce's done that. Like, in her Lemonade music video, like throughout, it was, which video? I think it was Love Drought. Yeah, I think it was Love Drought. She's in the video on the porch, in the countryside. You see the high grass. So you see that example of living in the country, being quote unquote country. So I feel like Beyonce is aware of everything, and there is a motive behind it. There's a reason behind it. And again, I think this is her being ironic. This is her obviously upholding this stereotypical image of what America is, quote unquote, is in the eyes of white America. And she happens to be a black woman upholding that. I think that's what Beyonce is doing here. That is my theory, and that's what I'm sticking to. Okay, let's move forward. Actually, this brings me back to, let's bring it on back. Let's bring it on back real quick, because Erykah Badu had something to say. Yes, Erykah Badu has something to say, because in another image of Beyonce in promotion of this upcoming album, Erykah Badu felt like Beyonce copied her style, which is very, very ironic to me, because first of all, Beyonce has worn braids for a decade at the very least. When she came out initially, like with not say my name, with no. Yeah, her hair was in a silk press, but after that, her hair has been in braids for years, okay? Beyonce is known for the cornrows time and time again. So this is nothing new. But in this image of Beyonce, she is wearing this sash as if she's a pageant queen. She's naked underneath, allegedly, because, it's probably just a suit underneath. She's holding a cigar. There's smoke around it. One hand is covering the nipple of her breast, of her left breast, and the sash is covering her other breast. And she's wearing this wig of braids, and it has beads at the end of it. Erykah Badu has been rocking this same hairstyle for a few years now. That has been her signature look for quite some time in recent years. And because of this, I don't know if Erykah was trying to troll, was trying to get some attention, but she felt like Beyonce was trying to just take on this image. And it's just so silly, because you know what's so funny? This is a common African hairstyle. The braids at the end of the beads, the bob of braids with beads at the end of it, and the bang of cornrow braids and beads at the end of it. This is nothing new. This is just our ancestral way of styling our hair. So someone posted on X saying, Erykah Badu is a prime example of how people hate Beyonce simply for existing. It's only a problem when Beyonce does it. Badu didn't address Brandy, SZA, or Solange, who had the same type of hairstyle and different photos of them. So for her to only focus on Beyonce, I think it was just a moment of trying to get clout, trying to get attention. And that is what she got. That is definitely what she got here. And what's funny is Erykah Badu also referenced Jay-Z and said to Jay-Z, "Say something, Jay. You gonna let this woman and these bees do this to me?" ? With a funny emoji at the end of that. Like, what do you say? Are you okay? Are you being a little mama right now? Why are you acting like this? What's going on? Just interfering with stuff. So, of course, Jay-Z's not responding. And, of course, Beyonce's not responding. But, yeah, this is just another moment of someone trying to get on the hype train of someone else just to gain some attention. Okay, let's talk about sodomy. Whew, Lord. Like, what the hell, Maxie? Yes, I don't know how much I want to get into this. I don't know if I even want to watch this documentary. But I've listened to so much of the commentary around it that has been going around since the release of it. So Quiet on Set is a Nickelodeon documentary, or it's a documentary about Nickelodeon. And the kid stars who have been a part of the network for quite some time. And apparently during this time, during this run, there was rampant child sex abuse happening behind the scenes, on the scenes, at the hands of the producers, the on-set directors. Like, literally all of the adults in charge were either complicit or directly abusing these children. This is a 4-part documentary that you could watch on either the ID channel or Max. So check that out if you're interested. I don't know if I'll check it out. I'll see. Oh my God, this fucking dog. Child, he just chewed up. Oh, anyway, we're gonna move on, Maxine. Okay, so this is an interesting story for a couple of reasons. And I'll get to why I'm saying that. watching this breakdown video from this woman called Sloan Bella. She is known for doing energy readings and just having like psychic abilities, etc., etc. And a lot of her predictions have come true. So she talks about the sodomy ritual and how this is an occultic practice that those who are of that possession, see how I mentioned that earlier? Those who are of that possession would do as a way to harness energy, as a way to defile another body, and as a way to simply gain power and control over someone or people, multiple people. Because something about being sodomized allows you to play the master while the person getting sodomized is the puppet. So you are the puppeteer and the person getting violated is the puppet, okay? This is much bigger than, oh, this person just likes it in the ass, or, oh, this person is just freaky, right? A lot of the things that we do sexually meet certain energies that are beyond our human experience. And this is what I'm learning, okay? So I feel like when we talk about anal sex, and we talk about just pleasure from the behind, only anal sex, that's the only thing I'm talking about. Child, is beyond this innocent impression that we may think it is. It's beyond, oh, I'm just, that's why I hate. That's why I used to hate when these like feminist women would encourage and coerce and basically mandate their male partners to be pegged by them. Because they feel like, you trying to be homophobic. You could get the best pleasure of your life through your asshole. And it's like, why are you trying to emasculate this man? But this is beyond anal pleasure. It's about owning someone. It's about being in control of someone. So like when that is happening, when someone's getting sodomized, it's not about the sexual pleasure. So someone may ask, because I'm also thinking this right now, like, what's the difference between sodomized and having anal sex? There isn't. Hello? The intent, I guess? Like, what are we talking about? I don't think there is. Hello? It's just like how I've heard when women who sodomize their men, they feel this sense of power. They feel this sense of control. They feel like the man. They feel like that nigga, right? So what's the difference here? There's something about going at it from the behind. There's something about the power there, because apparently there's like these reins of power that you could pull on, particularly from the back. So think about it like this: like you have a doll, you have a mannequin, right? You have some type of puppet in front of you, and you get to move that puppet however you want that puppet to move, and you're behind the puppet, controlling the puppet's movements, its arms location, its stretches, all of that. Okay? So that is the same thing when it comes to these sodomy rituals that we see a lot in Hollywood, and that's often in our regular days as well. So I'm just saying this to say, don't have anal sex. Let's move on. Jermaine Dupri says he cannot be with a woman who doesn't accept him frequenting at the strip club. Yes. He needs a woman who would want to go with him to Magic Mike. Probably not that strip club, but whatever popular Atlanta strip club of women shaking their asses. That is what he wants to experience with his woman. So let's get into this.
It was with Gayle King and Carrie Champion and all them. You was talking about how if a woman couldn't understand you being in the strip club, she wasn't the woman for you.
Yeah. If a woman or, if a girl goes there, whatever, I feel like if a woman can't understand this, it's not even about getting with it, because you don't do nothing. You just go to the strip club, girls getting naked, you can eat, the music playing, you don't have to do anything. But if that is just too much for you, then that means I'm too much for you.
The strip club is too much for
her.
her.
If the strip club, you going with me to the strip club is too much for you, then that means I'm too much for you. 100%.
So if that was a deal breaker off the top.
100%.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm saying, like, I'm going to use you, Jess, as an example. If me and Jess was talking and she came to Atlanta and I said, we going to Magic City tonight. And she was like, well, I don't really fuck with no strip clubs. At that point, you have broke our synergy. You flew to Atlanta to stay at my house.
Now, a lot of women are like getting mad at him for what he's saying, right? Like, oh, he's a fucking jerk. He's a freak. He's a freak-a-leak. Did he? Get him, right? Now, I think on the surface, what he's saying makes sense, right? I think there's something to that. If this is something that I do on a regular basis, I probably don't see the issue with it, right? It's just another place I frequent, right? Some people, I need to stop saying right. I'm noticing I'm saying it a lot, so sorry. But some people go to the bar often, go shopping often, go to the nail salon often. And sure, you may not want to compare that to a strip club, ass shaking in your face, but nonetheless, it's still a place of, it's still an establishment. Okay, so whether you decide what type of establishment it is, it's still something that you decide to frequent. And there is a little bit of a nuisance being had here if your significant other is not with the shits with you. So if he's someone who likes to go out and party, he likes to drink, he likes to have a good time, he likes to frequent the strip clubs, it wouldn't make sense for him to be with someone who is completely opposite of that. You attract who you are. You attract the same similarities that you have within yourself in others. So naturally, you would be in an intimate relationship with someone who is similar to you, with someone who has similar interests, similar viewpoints, similar. So I think he's not wrong with what he's saying. He has to be equally yoked with someone who is of that same interest.
While I go party with my homeboys, now when
you
I
got a
go,
really nice house, JD, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but when I go to the strip club, as a woman, her mind's gonna start doing this, right? I asked you to come with me so that your mind wouldn't do that, but you want to stay at home and wait till I get back.
Good point.
And then come back, possibly smelling like the strip club.
And let's talk about that too. Some people, those who frequent strip clubs, like for JD, I think because he's been in the industry for so long, a naked body is not something that is so outrageous, like, or even outrageous, period. Like, I think he's seen a lot of things that it doesn't strike him as anything salacious or anything new. Like, it's just like, it's what it is. Like, oh, there goes a naked body, there goes a naked body, isn't it? You know, I just think it's not that deep. As for maybe someone who's not really into going out to these type of establishments, that could be a bit alarming. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to a strip club. Oh my gosh, look at that ass. Oh my gosh, look at her. She's shaking that ass like that. Oh my, you know, like it's a big deal for someone like that. But someone like JD, he probably doesn't see it as this like, okay, so what? That's a naked body. Okay, so what? And he probably just goes there for the joy, not even joy. I think for just the comfort. There's a comfort in looking at certain things, and something about the woman's body is comforting, is beautiful to look at. And I think he sees it as just an artwork, as a piece of artwork. Like, wow, look at this beautiful artwork. Look at this woman who is controlling this pole, who is dancing like it's her last meal down the line. Like, that's what I think he's probably approaching it as. Like, it's not a big deal to him. But for some women who are not of that same echelon, to say, they're probably looking at it as, what are you doing there? Am I not good enough for you? Don't you like my body? And it's like, it's not about you. It's just about my comfort.
Question.
And then we gonna have a beef. You fucked it up from the jump.
Yeah.
Or I fucked it up by allowing you to just stay at home. I should have just made you come. So I'm just saying, ultimately, if this is part of your life, this is part of my life. So if you gonna fuck with me, you gotta know.
And that's a very interesting thing that he just said there. It's a part of his life. Like, what? And for me, that's like a what? But for someone of that same circle, that's okay, yeah. Like, when I listen to the Joe Budden podcast, they talk about how they go to strip clubs, not all the time, but they're familiar with strip clubs. They go there often enough where they could spend casually $5,000 in one night. I read something that said that JD used to spend consistently $10,000 every Monday for 10 years at a strip club. Like, I'm sorry, what? But when you got it like that, you got it like that. Like, it really it's not a big deal. Money ain't a thing. Didn't he have a song called that? Money ain't a thing. I don't like it. It just don't do that. Yeah. So it's nothing to him.
That's happening. That's gonna happen. Yeah. Right? It's interesting because when I was dating Janet, I tried to not take her.
I was gonna ask you. You had Janet Jackson in Magic City?
100%. But I fought it for the longest. I wasn't in the space mindset that I'm in right now because I wasn't paying attention to it like the way I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, oh, if I take her in there, one of them girls gonna tap me on my shoulder that I done been with, and she gonna know. And then I was thinking about all the bullshit.
Yeah.
Nah, if this what you do, what you did in your past is your past. I'm with you now. Let me see what's happening. Why you want to go there every Monday? That's what her question was. Fuck it, let's go.
Did she understand after she went why you wanted to be there every Monday?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, this brings to the point that I just said, how he used to go there every Monday and used to spend $10,000 at the strip club. So imagining Janet Jackson there is like, oh, JD, stop tainting Janet, or not anymore, but you know, Janet's a grown ass woman. She can do whatever she wants. But you know, she always has this innocent face, this innocent, you know, baby face of hers. So seeing her, just even thinking that she was at this strip club with asses in her face next to this short ass bulb looking nigga, it's just like, oh my gosh, why? But anyway, they really love each other at some point, it looked like. But God bless y'all. I don't know. I probably couldn't do that. Again, I wouldn't be attracting, you know, like I've gone to a strip club twice, 3 times. It's really, I could count a number of times in one hand. And it's cool for what it is, but it's not my scene for a number of things, right? I don't like too much smoke. I don't like belligerent people next to me. Just niggas. I mean, it's a lot going on, but it's good for a once every 3 years type of thing. That's my limit. Okay, but God bless. Okay, Ye says he has a problem with Jesus, which is interesting because he was just on this campaign of Jesus. Jesus Walks was an older record of his, but even in recent years, he has been on this like religious campaign. This way of being where he's always speaking of God, he's always speaking of his faith, and shaming the devil and all these things. And it's so weird because he is parading his wife naked in these streets, yet you supposed to call yourself a man of God. Like, a man of God protects his wife. It's just so weird to me. So he talks about how he has an issue with Jesus.
A lot of stuff I went through that I have my issues with Jesus. There's a lot of stuff I went through that I prayed and I didn't see Jesus show up. So I had to put my experience in this world, my experience with my children, my experience with other people, my experience with my account, my experience with my brand, and my experience with the level of music that I was dealing with in my own hands. Like a lot of times I just feel like in our society in America, people, Christians, we depend on Jesus so much that we won't put the word in ourselves. And the main thing that really that I don't rock with is like, it's just always like, I'm gonna pray for you. And it's just like, you can actually physically do something yourself too, more than just pray. And we're so in this mentality that's all that needs to happen, but we ain't praying our way out of prison. We ain't praying our way out of the abortion. It is, but
Now, what he's saying has validity to it. And I know what he means. I know what it means to feel like you've been abandoned by Jesus, by God, right? I know how he feels, because at some point in my life, I felt that same way. But I think this is an opportunity for him to stretch his mindset when it comes to his relationship with God, with Jesus, because this idea of expecting him to, I guess, be our savior, but I guess expecting him to do all the work and we don't do anything is this false belief that many Christians were raised to believe, right? Oh, sorry, I'm working on it, y'all. This idea of, just pray it away and you'll be fine, and that's all you have to do. When in all actuality, yes, you can pray. You could still pray, don't get me wrong, but you should still also strategize, research, network, push through, show perseverance, do what you could do in your own right to get through this season of your life. Once you feel that empowerment, once you feel that God-like energy in yourself, then you're able to really see and rely on the strength of God in your life. And I think that's something that a lot of Christians have a hard time accepting, because we've been conditioned to believe all we have to do is pray. When, even in the Bible, it talks about faith without work is dead. And that's truly what it is. Like, we have to remember, it's not about just wishing on a star and hoping things come into place. That's a part of it. I think so. But I think it's also about, how can you grow in this moment? How can you lean into your faith even more? Lean into your trust in him even more when things are not looking the best right now. But remember that he never leaves you. Remember that things are always working for your good. So, go back to the scripture. Go back to your relationship with him. Go back to your praying grandmother and let her pour into you. I'm saying this metaphorically because I don't know if he has a praying grandmother in his life currently, but whoever in your life who demonstrates strong faith, this is your time to really lean into that person and see how they can inspire you to get back to that faith. So I hope he can feel encouraged and not feel this abandonment or this issue with Jesus. It's not personal, my man, right? But it's definitely something that is a hard pill to swallow for many Christians. So I get it. I have some sympathy for him, but I think he should be old enough to recognize that it's not this like wishing on a star type of thing. You have to get up and do the work. And I hate to say that there's no savior or there's no one here to save you, but because obviously Jesus died for, that whole understanding of that. But honestly, you have to do the work. And I've learned that in so many ways. Like you have to get up and go to work. You have to get up and persevere. You can't expect things to just always fall into your lap. You can't expect everyone to support you. You can't expect, like, the entitlement of that is what will kill you, is what will make you feel insecure and depressed and unworthy. You have to keep pushing on and trusting that God has equipped you for this season in your life. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Look at me. Hello, preacher. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I will check in with you all next time. Peace.